Cherokees. The chief spoke heavily on each destiny, his face sweaty. In his late 70s, he grows weary, near deathly. The medicine priestess already. Their telekinesis books are heavenly. As their eyes burn, the sky turns ebony. The stars align together, forming an image of wolves. Moon howls as they all take mushrooms. They turn to owls. The owls perch. The chief spoke first. The universe came down like clouds. The stars lurk, introvert. No sound, one dispersed as the wolves prowl. The medicine church curse reversed. No footprints left in the dirt. Leads one to search from day to dawn, from night to morn.
Yo.
An entire Cherokee tribe walk back in the corn.
Yo, what's good out there, world? What's the deal? What's the science?
All right.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Killah Priest Podcast. Thank you. I'm your host, Killah Priest. And beside me is none other than my cousin, Divine Truth.
Peace to the peoples.
And heading the rocket ship is none other than my other brother from another mother, A Dizzle.
What's up? Check 1 2. What's good?
Y'all come in the building. We got a special guest in the house tonight. Yo, I'm gonna just introduce you now. I'm gonna introduce you like 2 or 3 times. I don't know if I should just keep introducing you all night, man. Brother that I respect. He's been on the line. I mean, if y'all check him online, he's been in and out of debates. He's like one of the dopest. What would you call yourself? A scholar? I would call you a scholar. Like, but what would you say? Like anthropologist or?
I mean, I'm just. I like to go just by saying like just for the urban community, a nigga with sense. You know, what
nigga
I'm
with
saying?
sense. There you go. All right, straight up. We got a nigga with sense, man, and that's straight up. NGOZI, make some noise, yo. NGOZI.
What's happening? Love to the family, yo. Super love to the family.
Peace.
And let me shout out to the chat room. Welcome y'all coming in. Peace to y'all. See you, Sacred Hearts. You in here? Yo, everybody coming in. It's gonna be good today. Thank y'all for coming in. What's the day? You know me, I'm just almost...
September 23rd.
No, the day is Wednesday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday. I know we switching days now, so it's like we off in that astro plane and stuff, but we're gonna take it to another level. And we got NGOZI in the house, man, and let's let them pack in. Where we at right now?
34.
Everybody coming packing in. 34 is good. That's understanding culture. You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand their culture and get everything right. I see the Rockets and Nebulas coming in. NGOZI, they said your mic is a little muffled.
Could you hear me?
We hear me clear.
I hear you clear.
Yeah.
Could the audience hear me?
Will B said it's a little muffled. Could you hear him now, Will Beats?
Yo.
Yeah, he said his mic.
Maybe I want to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me turn it up.
Yeah.
Yo, could you hear me now, King?
I got you coming in.
I
good.
got you clear.
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
Yeah, we hear you clear. Just make sure that they can hear us. And no doubt. Exactly. Everybody up in the building. So, where we at now? Yeah, we at 40 now. So we up there. All right, so let's just start off like this, man. How you been, NGOZI? What's been going on?
Man, I've been at peace, man. I've been moving, man, making things pump as usual, man. Just being alive and enjoying life, man. Life activity for what we can, you know.
Right.
It popping up unexpected. So I'm living, man, and I'm at peace. I'm at a joyful state.
Right. Through this crazy time, man. That's a blessing right there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Word. So you know, where I want to set it off is we touched on it a little bit, but we talked before the audience. Y'all didn't get to hear this, but we're gonna go into some deep stuff right now. The original man, because I know you're really good with this, and we want to get the original man. The plight, is it real? I mean, you just go, bro. You got the floor. Word.
Yeah. The original man is very real. I mean, original man is what you see. You know, the original man is what I mean by that is Homo sapiens sapiens, which developed in Africa. The dark skin, what they label as black man. Mm-hmm. So the original man is an actual thing. It's an actual real situation. It's what we see as Homo sapiens sapien. Far as you know, it's very important for us to give credence and recognize our brothers and sisters in the continent. Specifically with haplogroup A, if we understand sex chromosomes, the haplogroups not just basing it off haplogroups, but also the time that the human population spent within Africa, and also the dark-skinned people that you find in Asia, and also a lot of the people that migrated over here in the early from the land bridge, coming over here 33,000 years ago. Those early, paleo-mongoloids that descend from those, proto-asteroid populations that crossed the land bridge, who was also part of that original family, but human family. And we all, ultimately is Homo sapiens sapien, as long as you have the same limb proportions, the same body proportions, ultimately we're a product that developed in a long time range, going from, the first stages of us from Homo habilis all the way to the modern Homo sapiens sapiens. So when it comes to the original man of us, it's the blueprint of it is the so-called black man, and that's what you see.
Okay, that's definitely peace. And so, so they say the Asiatic black man, black man. Okay, so how do you so how did we get the title Asiatic black man?
Well, if you study the 5% lessons, from the gods or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, even going back to Noble Drew Ali, well, I'll just take it from the lessons. We know from the lessons, Asia means body, Attic means mind. From early Akkadian script, Asu means the east or the rising sun. In Sanskrit, the term Ashya means the dawn. So it only refers to the east. But from a 5%er perspective, it's the Asiatic black man, which is the body, mind, black man, that person that's at that state.
Right.
There's some truth to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Historically, if we follow the phylogenetic tree and we understand, how haplogroups work, we see man developing from haplogroup A00 to A1 to A1BT, all the way to BT to BM60 to CTM168, and then that CTM168, what scientists call, scientific Noah or Eurasian Adam from a scientific analysis, not biblical. This is the man that migrates out of Northeast Africa and goes into what we label as the so-called Middle East before going into other parts of the world. Some of these populations hover in tropical Arabia around 70 to 80,000 years ago, and they develop a paragroup. Paragroup is not the specific group of DE that we find that first branched off from CT, because you had the CT, and then you got the DE, and then you got a paragroup of DE, and then you got the CF. A paragroup of that DE slightly leaked back into Africa. And
right, hold on. Right, I just want to slow it down for the audience because, you talking deep science, brother. And I'm going to tell you that. You dropping heavy science. So when you mean the hapless groups, is that tell the audience what you mean when you said the CTs and all of this.
Well, haplogroup is your deep ancestral lineage. It's your sex chromosome. It's what makes you a male.
Right.
And like your Y chromosome is what makes you a male.
Right.
From the haplogroups, or which is hapless, which means the unfold of these SNP single nucleotide polymorphisms, it tells the story of where you come from your deep ancestral lineage, paternally or maternally, right? So paternally, if we follow the phylogenetic tree and we see what happened with CTM168,
right?
They label Eurasian Adam or basal Eurasian. Basal in science or genetics means branch off base. He leaks out of Northeast Africa and goes into the Arabian Peninsula. But at this time, Arabia was tropical. It was grassy. It wasn't the Arabia that we see today. And a lot of these men, a paragroup is not the same group of DE that we see specifically that branched off. A paragroup is an uncertainty. It's called a tentative. A tentative isn't certain. So this paragroup slightly goes back into the continent, but it stays near the peak of Northeast Africa, near Sudan, the northern part, the Red Sea, and Arabia. And once these people went back to Arabia, this is when you start to find us, where the EM96 started to arose, which is haplogroup E. Okay. 70% to 80% of African Americans have it. 23 to 35% of Latinos of Hispanic men have it, because a lot of our Hispanic brothers and sisters descend from sub-Saharan Africa too, partially, just as well as their native ancestry and their Mediterranean ancestry. But
this is the Olmecs?
The Olmecs would have been haplogroup Q. They come from an early phase of humans that migrated out of Africa, went through Asia, developed specific type of phenotype, and then crossed over. They were old world natives. See, Native Americans have a history that goes through phases. So they found tools recently, like 2 months ago, that showed that Homo sapiens was already over here 33,000 years ago. Now, at this time, the human 33,000 years ago living in the land bridge 30,000 years ago and 40,000 years ago, based off the research of what they found called Tiwan man, he was a transitional phase. If you look at Kotiki man, they look similar to Aborigine Australians. So this first wave of people that crossed over through the land bridge 33,000 years ago, they looked like Aborigines. They wasn't Congoid populations, us. They were a dark-skinned population that crossed over. And this is why when they found Luzia in Brazil, her morphology was similar to the so-called Negroid taxonomy. Now, here's the thing. This Negroid taxonomy isn't just based off Congoid, because the specific group that sub-Saharan West Africans come from will be the Congoid cluster within a taxonomy of what they used to call Negroid, because you got Caucasoid, Negroid, and Mongoloid. Within the Negroid, you have Australoid, Capoid, which is the Khoisan, and you have, primarily the Congoid population. So this early wave, why they was calling Luzia Negroid, it wasn't in the sense of Congoid, it's because of the earlier wave that you found that crossed over from the land bridge 30-some thousand years ago. They had an early autochthonous indigenous look that was very distinct from the later population that stayed there to develop more of the recent Mongoloid features, from Proto-Australoid or Proto-Capoid to Proto-Australoid to Paleo-Mongoloid to Proto-Mongoloid to more recent Neo-Mongoloid phase. So when it comes to the Olmec, the people of rubber, they were brown-skinned people with robust features. And if you go into Latin America or you go to Mexico, you look at some of our Mexican brothers, you can see those broad original features. Full lips, big, Go to Colombia, you find it. A lot of indigenous had those broad or so-called robust features as well. And that's a reminder of the original Homo sapiens sapien trait, because Homo sapiens sapien is a tropical species.
Okay. Hey, one of our listeners, they wanted to know what are your sources and what books would you recommend them so they could put themselves up on this knowledge?
A good book to read, man, is The Human Genome. A Human Journey by Spencer Wells. Type up Human Journey by Spencer Wells. Spencer Wells is a geneticist. Also get books by Alice Roberts. She have a book called Evolution. She deals with the genetics and also anthropology. And also you study bioanthropologist, a brother named Soy Kieta. He tells a lot of the history of Africa and humans and the different diversity that we have within a continent. So his name is Soy Kieta. But a good book to start off with is Human Journey by Spencer Wells. Check that out.
Somebody said, what said Mick Jagger has big lips. Mick Jagger.
hey, you never. You never know, man. It's not color. Color is one thing, and from the recent studies, Africans, or if you study Tisco recently, and understanding the studies of skin, Africans had development of light skin and dark skin. Look at the Khoisan in South Africa and the Kalahari Desert. They're a little lighter than me. And then when you go to the northern Mediterranean, those people, even though they have back migration DNA, but we have to understand the ultraviolet rays and how ultraviolet rays work and how it pierces our skins. And the key component to melanin is that amino acid called tyrosine, which allows us to be able to produce higher levels of pigmentation based off living in specific zones of the planet. So if we understand it, the beauty of it is that Homo sapiens sapien always had especially in Africa, because humans spend more time in Africa than outside of Africa. You're looking at almost 300, not just a 300,000 year range when it comes to our branch or species of Homo, but and Homo means same. But what I'm saying is that not just our branch species of Homo, but always going back to Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo ergaster, all the way to the first predecessor of our species, which is Australopithecus afarensis or Ardipithecus. Just studying it, the species and the evolutionary changes that we had to go through all those zones and to be separate, to develop separate genomes based off the time period that we had a lot more time we spent in Africa to be diverse than leaving outside of Africa. That's what we got to understand.
That's deep.
Wow. Man, oh man, my mind is blown to the bitch right now. I was trying to get my ABCs together. He said, Geno 6. Man, that's good, brother. So so what about what about the ancient Hebrews? The ancient Hebrews. Because I got to do this. I got to do this for the Israelite brothers. Where did they come from, and how do they fit into these?
The Hebrews have a a funny story. We got to understand the time period of the Middle East.
Okay.
50 to 60,000 years ago, you have the Emiranian groups, who again, their branches off of the CTM 168. But I'll go back 13,000 to 15,000. So around 13,000 to 15,000 years ago, you have people leaking out of the Nile Valley and going into the Levant, the Maksabarian groups. And when they go into the Levant, they're meeting up with other groups who were already settled, the Himrians. And they become something called the Natufians. And when you look at the Natufians, when you study them, this is around 10,000. They brought agriculture into the Middle East. They came together and merged those populations, and they brought agriculture. So a portion of their genetic component partially comes from North Africa. And when you go up to the North African genome based off the molecular clock, you find a base of it comes from Omotic populations from the Horn of Africa, right? So you got these waves of people there around 10,000 years ago to around 6,000 years ago. But then you have a wave of Iranian Neolithic farmers coming in, chocolate coats from Neolithic farmers and Anatolian populations coming in around 6,000 in a Bronze Age. So you have a creolization of something going on in between, right? Then you have another wave going on. You have something called the Harithians, who lived on the southern belt under Samsara or Samara, what we label as Israel or whatever, where you had populations from Africa leaking in. So that area, as Dr. Anti-Joke taught us in history, for those who understand, follow Dr. Ben and Dr. Anti-Joke, that they call Dr. Anti-Diop.
Right.
It was always a zone of confluence. So by the time the Hebrews start to form, the Hebrews are actually, we got to go back before they have the term Hebrew. You got to go to the Aparu, who was giving a lot of people hell in the Middle East, like the Batinian kings, and they were writing in our mono letters about it. But even before that, we got to find out where did they come from. Now we got to get to the source. The so-called Hebrews or wanderers or those who cross over or these people who were nomads who were going from one place to the other, they are a conglomeration, or they're partially, let me say this, partially a group branch of Canaanites and a group branch of Shashus from the southern part of the Levant who came together.
Ask that question about the Canaanites. Yeah.
And they became a confederation within their own. This is like in Chicago, right? If you understand the history of Chicago, right? I'll give you an example. You got vice lords, CBLs, the original vice lords. Then you got niggas that start to branch off. You got Four Corner Hustler. You got traveling. You got Mafia vice lords. You got, Imperial. So what I'm saying is that they all come from a base root, which is that Eastern Levitian component, but they split. So one portion of them is from the Shashus, who was Semitic-speaking people south of the Levant. Another portion of them is from a branch of Canaanites, who were also in partial connection with those Bronze Age Iranian farmers that leaked in. And another portion of them are Ethiopic, because there were Africans who leak out that went. So they were, as the Bible or the scriptures say, they were a mixed multitude.
All right.
Early Creoles of the Middle East.
That's crazy. The early Creoles of the Middle East. That's crazy. So, Bell, we was talking about this earlier a little bit. So the worship of El is that is the origins of El and it being a god. Was that did it start in Israel or was it older than that in Canaan?
No, it was older than Canaan. And Yahweh. See, the thing is, El was the god of storm and sky. They had Bel, but then you turned around, that was a Canaanite deity. But then the Shashus had Yahweh. Yahweh was like a god of war and victory. It was a volcano god. When the Hebrews, when these people called the Aparus came together from these two separate groups and became so-called Israelites, they took Yahweh and gave Yahweh the supreme position over the other deities because he helped them out in victory. So Yahweh just doesn't mean I am. Yahweh means to create. You know what I'm saying? But you also find Yahweh, a form of Yahweh in the Nile Valley in Africa, Jehuti Aya, which means the increasing moon. Now we got to get into the festivals in the lunar cycle calendar that the so-called Hebrews, they actually got a lot of that from older Canaanite tradition. And they brought it into their new system that they create. The Jewish or Hebrew text, when it comes to literature, before the later content of when Ezra helped the Persians and they helped sponsor him to write that. But the literal text that they only have is no older when it comes to paperwork, because they used to have like little fragments. But for a full book, before you had the Septuagint when the Greeks came in and you had the Persian with Israel. But it's no older than 300 to 200 BC when they have a complete book. The
Right.
canon is complete. So these people go through phases. They go through phases of what you see today. And, you know, sprinkles of their genetics, you can find original populations with the so-called Jews of Yemen, a few of the Jews in Iran, and you find a few of them leak back into the continent of Africa.
Right.
So, you know, but overall they bred or mixed out based off whatever area they went into, you know.
Quick question. Where are the Canaanites today? Who are the Canaanites?
Well, a lot of the Canaanites today will be the modern Palestinians, the people of Palestine. But you got to be careful with that because a lot of their genetics come from the Philistines, and the Philistines comes from the southern parts of Europe, the Mediterranean Sea. So now we got to look at what's going on. Again, it's a zone of confluence. The so-called Middle East has unrested genes. It never had a settled population. The only time you really have a wave of strong African influence in the earlier phase is with the Natufians who leaked out of North Africa, and you find haplogroup E there. And that's even a partial situation because they were already mingling with populations who left out of the continent, developed their own unique mutations clinally through clines and at the demi level, and they became their own distinct groups as they, you know, became other groups of people. Natufians, pre-pottery Neolithic A, B, and C group. You get what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Are the Natufians still around now, or what happened to the Natufians?
They don't exist no more, but the closest population that's similar to them, because a lot of them leaked back into the Horn of Africa, is the modern day Eritreans and Somalians.
Eritreans.
And, you know, and the Somalians, the Eritreans, a lot of them have that old partial basal Eurasian component that went back into the continent a long time ago because they were already African anyway. North African.
Yo, where would the Zulus fit into this mix?
Zulu brothers comes from the so-called Bantu expansion. The Zulu are like one of the last waves of the Bantus that the origin of the so-called Bantu means people or man. So the origin of the Bantu speakers comes from Cameroon, and they start to disperse out around 5,000 years ago. So a lot of the Zulu make it south. You have a whole lot of waves before they become Zulu. By the time they make it into South Africa, they go down there and they conquer the Khoisan and other groups. Some of them even mix with them, and you find these Bantus becoming a semi-group called the Oxias down there. So the so-called the Zulu warriors are a population of Bantu speakers that dominated South Africa. They wasn't from there originally. Before that, a lot of their base group comes from Cameroon.
Okay.
So it's like that. It's a title. A lot of people. Okay.
The names change, but overall, you get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The genetics is the same, but the names.
Man, you sound like I got to get you on a song, bro. I got to get you on a. Yeah, I definitely got to get you on a joint, man, and just let you talk before the joint come out. We'll talk about man. Man, I respect your knowledge so much. It's heavy. It's heavier tonight. So, Sacred Heart asks, who are the real Jews?
I mean, that's. I mean, when it comes to Jew, we got to be careful with Jew. Now, if we want to talk about who the original Israelites or people of Israel,
better question.
These are people of color, and the term Israel. Oh, you got another question out?
No, I said that's a better question. What you just said. Yeah, go ahead.
Israel means one who struggles with God, and if we understand the metaphor of what Jacob went through in the mountain when he was wrestling with the angel, this is where you find the actual term Israel or Israel, one who struggles with God. By the time you get into this Jew thing, that's a later stratum. So now we got to go through a Hebrew phase to the Israelite phase into the so-called later Jew phase. So by the time you get to the Jews, this is an after effect of the after effect of an after effect of an after effect. So the so-called white boy could call himself a Jew because that's the ending process of an old Middle Eastern situation.
Wow, yeah.
Hey, yo, I always felt like they tell on themselves because if something is not quite something, you give it the suffix ish. If something is not quite gray, it's grayish. So if something is not quite Jewish, Jewish. You know what I mean? I always saw that. They gave that away in their own speech.
And you know something else? Hey, that's genius. And you know something else? The king, that's genius what you said, because here's the thing. Ish means to be like or something like. Look it up. If you get a dictionary, it means something like. No, it's not official. It's something like. It's something like. So, a lot of people are hijacking the culture. That's what a
Right.
lot of people doing.
Right.
Like there's a lot of hip hopish shit going on now.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they're
It's hip
hijacking.
hopish.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, it's not like it's not really hip
Not
hop.
quite hip hop. It's not quite hip hop.
Hey, yo. And that's what this new shit should be called. It should be called hip hop ish. Hip hop ish. It's something like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cold, man. Man, I wanted to ask you about you said the Bantu. It was one tribe that that has a lot of customs. I'm trying to remember real quick. I know Mighty Hebrew talks about it. What's the African tribe that has a lot of customs of the ancient Hebrews?
Hebrew?
Yeah,
he's talking about the Limba tribe of South Africa. They're
Yeah,
they next to the Shona people of Zimbabwe.
Right.
So yes, the Limba people carry a lot of the ancient Hebrew customs. The Falasha Jews of Ethiopia, they carry a lot of the customs. There's a few groups of people in Africa that carry a lot of the customs, but primarily you find the Limba, the Buba clan primarily, and you find the Falasha Jews of Ethiopia. They still practice a lot of the customs. Matter of fact, to be honest with you though, the Middle Eastern, and I'm not shitting on our cousins in the Middle East,
right.
but a lot of the customs before they had their formula of the Israelite faith comes out of Africa. And they try to downplay a lot of the Ethiopian population over there.
Right.
And, but I'm talking about the customs come from out of Africa before they have a book. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying?
Wow.
Before the book.
Circumcision. What you said?
All that was going on in Africa. Even the idea of the one God or the idea of oneness with the Most High.
Right.
When you fit with the ancient Cushitic population of Cushitic speakers, Wak.
Right.
Which Wak was an ancient form. So what I'm saying is like a lot of that stuff was already going on in the continent before, but it's a downplay on people that's of African descent or people that's African for a reason. It's a downplay, and it's sad.
Right. I like the mystic part. The Kabbalah was the origin. The Kabbalah and origins. Yeah, I see you smiling. Like, break that down. Like, what's the origin of that? Like, where did they pull that stargazers from?
Well, the Kabbalah is
and the Sufis.
The Kabbalah it was created in Spain by a lot of the Sephardic Jews. But we got to understand this Kabbalah, which means to receive, had a lot of customs that was in the ancient Chaldees, formula before they put it in the book of Zohar. The book of Zohar, book of radiance. Right. So they always explain the secret undertone, the secret underline of the divine, which is the infinite that we label as Ayin Sif. So the Kabbalah, which we could receive, is more of a 9th century AD as a book, as a booklet. You know what I'm saying? And it has partial Moorish, not because Ish means to be like, but more flavor to it because these groups of so-called Sephardics and so-called people, the Moors, they were all living in the southern parts of Europe when they created it. So when you look at the history, the Kabbalah as a book, a textual book, it's recent, but the customs and the certain esoteric formula behind the so-called Hebrew faith is old. It even predates the idea of Israel because you got to go into, even when you study old ancient Sumerian stuff, or you study old ancient going all the way back to the Chaldees of the land of Ur, you got to remember, when the Akkadians, which was a Semitic speaker, came from the Arabian Peninsula, they went into Sumer and they took the wedge language from them, which is called cuneiform. So a lot of them, and then when you go back even with the term with the Sumerians, a lot of them customs come from an old population that was living around Iraq and Iran 50,000 years ago from the first wave of people that migrated out of Africa. When you get the term Ayin, remember Ayin, the Lord of Sky, Ayin, you got the same custom to Ayin Suf, Ayin, which means infinite. Ayin, and the term Anu.
Hit him a bomb for that one. Hit him a big bomb. Yeah, you gotta get a bomb for that one. And so he just broke that insult. Go ahead. All right, bro. Go ahead, Cal. I ain't gonna cut your wisdom. Go ahead. I ain't so. Yeah, go ahead. I see what you're saying.
So then once we get into the term Anunnaki, Ain or Ki means earth, Ain, Anu. This is what, and then it goes back. So what I'm saying is the custom of Kabbalah, which means to receive. You're receiving a sephirah. The sephirah is light. What is the light? The light is scopes of consciousness. It's your daily activity, the photonic patterns around. Right now, when I'm receiving signal from this screen and looking at you guys, there's pockets of energy that's coming off that I'm receiving through my visual cortex, or the iris going through the visual cortex and it's making it out in the cerebellum. So basically, everything that you do consciously, you're receiving the light. You're receiving activity. That's the sephirah. Esoterically speaking, the infinite is energy itself, which is life itself. Ain Sif, which is also similar to Ainu or Ain, which means Lord of the Sky, which is eternity, a metaphor for it, which goes, it's deep, yo. It's deep.
Ooh, yo, another bomb for that one, man. That was heavy right here. You got your, I got. This is cold brew, right? No, this is tea right here. We need some cold brew because I need to stay up for this one. This is off the hook. Yo, if y'all coming in, hit that super chat and make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. We going in on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean? Right now, we're gonna call this Wisdom Wednesdays. NGOZI is dropping some knowledge, brother. I love it. You going in. Don't stop. We're gonna hit on some more. Because another version of the Kabbalah is the Sufism. The Sufism, right? It's almost like they it's like if you combine, and you know, like the chakra, the Vedas of India, and it's almost like you could it's almost like they all come from one root. What do you say about that?
It does. Sufi is the mystical aspect of Islam. Sufi means wool. Wool. The mystical aspect of Islam. I'm a Sufi. I'm Muslim. It's a 100 attribute of Allah that's similar to Ain Sif or the infinite. And 100 attribute of Allah is who. That's why if you ever go to a Sufi session, you find who. That who, remember we say Allahu Akbar. Who means is. So the ultimate reality of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is infinite consciousness, or that which is. El means the, Allah means power. That's what, if you look at it from the idea from the sunnah, not looking at it from, the way the gods or how we deal with it in the urban communities, arm, leg, arm, head, but I'm saying on another level.
Another level, yeah.
Alif, lam, ha. So again, that's an attribute of Allah. But here's the thing. There is a root, and that root goes back to the ancient animistic systems that what humans had. Ultimately, the ultimate reality was the unidentified one. And a great representation of it was the sun. In the Kabbalah, the first representation that comes out of Ain Sif is Keter, which is the crown, which is also equivalent to the power of stars and galaxies, which is thermonuclear fusion, light itself. That's what's emanating as it expands and goes to multiple directions to be able to create the base of it, which is Malkut. Malkut is the earth, which is the visible reality, and Kemet, that is Geb. Now, in science, this is basic ground, a tangible reality that we live in, which is based off mass energy. And Sufism or Islam, you see that happening also with the dearness of what we call the Hijab, which is the earth itself. It's similar. So there is a base root, and it goes back to old animistic systems. And these humans who understood the deeper esoteric knowledge, who put it in the later religious text, always understood what the ultimate reality was. They just created these costumes called religion and these different little systems that people can use to express themselves, to get closer to, the divine based off whatever they're going through in the areas that they live in. But there is a common gap between the Sufi text and the esoteric, Jewish text. There is a common link there. You got to remember, it's the Middle East. But again, a lot of the Middle Eastern components, the base root of it gets a lot of it from the Nile Valley. And a lot of the Nile Valley stuff goes all the way down to Sudan. And then a lot of that shit in Sudan go all the way down to the Great Rift Valley of Tanzania and Uganda, the places that people don't want to show, where you find the super sub-Saharan dark-skinned people that they don't want to play with. So by the time you get to Nile Valley, you already had a system of animism, of agriculture, and science that was already going on in the sub-Saharan zones of the continent. That's very old. Before you get the later additions where man started to forget and to have to record things and write on the wall. You record. It's like when you freestyle.
Right.
A freestyle master, he ain't got to do all that writing shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, starting to forget. So they're trying to tell a story about certain things that's going on. That's what's going on. So by the time you get a booklet, This is instructions
Right.
on how to function in society. You know, this is why you find it's a form of a decline.
Wow. Dang, man. So, yeah, by the time, I don't even know what to say, man. It's like, okay, Egypt, because I was going to go there. You answered that right there, because when you get to Egypt, like, where are the Egyptians today, the original Egyptians? Because I want to go into Egypt and the other African civilizations that were before Egypt.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Am I right by even saying that?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You absolutely, you're right.
Right.
Egypt. A lot of the Egyptians today still live there. They live in Upper Egypt. They live in Thebes. They're called the Fila, Fellah, the Bija, Beja.
Right.
A lot of the northern Sudanese.
Right.
And again, they have a common gap with a lot of people that we descend from, with like the Yoruba, the Fula, the Igbo. A lot of these people.
Igbos. That's what I was.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of these people descend from the early Green Sahara. This is why you find EM2, EM1, EM78, and all that. This is where you find an old Tassili cave art. The old Tassili cave art is the basic, even with the proto-Dogons, with EM33 or E1A, specifically their Y chromosome. These people were in the early Sahara before a lot of us came and leaked out of Ethiopia. So what I'm saying is that the term Egypt doesn't exist because the term Egypt comes from Egyptos, and that's a Ptolemaic Greek period from the Hecapata. Hecapata, when the Greeks came in a certain city in Thebes, they seen the term Hecapata. Hecapata became the corruption of it becomes the term Egypt, Egyptos. So there is no Egypt. And then before that, Kemet, you only found the term Kemet in the 6th dynasty. And Kemet only means the land of the black soil. You had another word for it, which was called the desert. Desert is where you get the word desert from. So what I'm saying is that this Nile Valley introduction, it's actually now the civilization. And before the Nile Valley civilization, it's Saharian developmental phases of the civilization, where you find the Tassili cave art, the pheasant cave art, before they leak it to other groups of people and mingle with other earlier human populations, become the distinct groups that you see today all through Africa.
Wow, man. That's for my whole tap brothers out there. Whoa, man. You went in. You went in. Okay. So, Moors. So how did the Moors fit into all of this?
The Moors is part of our African history. The term Moor goes back to the Moori of ancient Mauritania. Before the Romans came in, or Greeks come in with the Latin word moros, which means scorch or dark. It's a descriptive term, actually. Now, who are the Moors? The Moors was a confederation. They were Amazigh from the north, which is the modern-day Berbers. And they were also the Almohads or the Almohads that you find that stretched from Senegal, that were coming from Senegal, the Malian groups that were all merging together. So the Moors is a collection. It's a confederation of different groups of Africans. Now, the major figures of the Moors that we hear about are the Amazigh, which is the Berbers that you find in North Africa today, or near the Mediterranean, and the Arabs. Even an Arab can be considered Moor, because when the Europeans or the people in Southern Europe seen these people, that Moros, Mari, people that's coming from the Moroccan Gap.
Yo, was not to cut you off, was Mansa Musa a Moor?
Mansa Musa was Mandinka.
He was Mandinka.
So he went, and a lot of us descend from the Mandinka. Now, here's the thing: there were Mandinka who were classified as Moor. Again, nobody called themselves that. That was a descriptive term. So, because he was a black man who practiced Islam, the Spaniards would have called him a Moor at that time. So, if you were Fulani, like the Black Sultan of Morocco, of the Almohads, his mother was Fulani. He was labeled as a Moor. So no one called themselves that. Even the term Morocco, that's a more recent term. Madi Kush, they have multiple names. So Moor was more of a descriptive term. The actual real Moors were the Maori of Mauritania. Now, we know the powerhouse of Mauritania were Mandinka, and the Mandinka were called the Senuke, which was Ouagadougou. The Senuke controlled ancient Ghana, which was originally in Mauritania. You get what I'm saying?
Good.
So Mansa Musa, our Mandinka brother, which is directly where a lot of our ancestors come from, he was Mandinka. And to the people that was in Southern Europe, he would have been identified as a Moor. Because if you come from the Western Maghreb, the western part of the continent practicing Islam, you would have been called a Moor at that time.
Okay. Wow, is that what about the Songhai? The Songhai,
The Songhai is another group of people that live near Mali, and they were Nilotic. They're Nilo-Saharan speakers, and they had a large empire on Timbuktu. The Mandinka controlled it with the Kieta dynasty, but then you had the Songhai groups that were also there, and they were there for a long time. These are early Saharian groups.
Right. See, because everybody get hooked up on just Egypt, but there were more just black kingdoms than just Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get caught up in that, and then a lot of people they look at Egypt through how I believe Alexander the Great saw it, or the Greek. Alexander the Greek saw it, and because by the time he got there, you tell me, was he new? I mean, it was things that were going on before he even got there.
By the time Alexander the weirdo came into Egypt, Egypt was already controlled by the Persians. It wasn't controlled by people that look like you and me. And before the Persians, the Syrians took it from the Nubians. And before the Nubians took it back, the Nubians took it from the light-skinned Libyans, which were Mediterranean partially, and they were also struggling with sea people from Southern Europe. So by the time Alexander came there, Egypt was already watered down. It was already a commercial country. So Egypt, it's another, again, because it's a transcontinental country.
Right.
There was always people going in and out and becoming part of the kingdom.
Right. Right. And Melvin asked about Mali. I think you Mali. You went into Mansa Musa. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, break that Mali.
Well, Mali is very important because Mali, which means hippopotamus, it stretches from modern day Mali all the way to Sierra Leone to Liberia, and a lot of our ancestors who were kidnapped were of Mandinka descent, and we don't recognize that. And that's part of our Malian empire. Sanjeta Kieta, the Lion King, stretched our empire for the Malian dynasty. And the Mandinka stretched in the earlier phases from early Niger to early Niger to Mali. And they're all in relation to our Bantu-speaking cousins, our Yoruba-speaking cousins. All of this is part of who we are. All of this. And this is the people that we should focus on, because this is where the foundation of a lot of science and complex thinking comes from. You know, when Mansa Musa went into Egypt, he made them niggas go into bankruptcy because they was on bullshit. He inflated their country on purpose. That's how cold Mansa Musa was. So we got to give credence to the Mandinka. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors. That's why I always say MOB Mali over Babylon, because it's important.
The T-shirt, Mali over Babylon. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's hard. Oh man, make some noise, man. Yo, y'all just coming in. That's NGOZI is going in.
We dropping over 100 viewers.
Yeah, he dropping some science. Make some noise. We have AD in the house. A Dizzle on the 1 and 2s. Divine Truth. Yeah, exactly. NGOZI. Man, this is so beautiful right here, man. A couple of the viewers want you to build on Noble Jew Ali. A little bit more of about the Moors and Noble Jew Ali. Something like that.
Well, you know, Noble Jew Ali was very important for us because he was one of the first to give us the idea of something outside of Christianity that we were taught. Noble Jew Ali was part of our struggle in the diaspora. You know, he came from Carolina, he came from Virginia, he got old roots. And he gave us something that was different. He's one of the first to bring an esoteric knowledge or metaphysical knowledge when he came up with Moorish Science Temple of America. For those who don't agree, to give you the first understanding of calling yourself an African. In the Circle 7 Quran, he talks about a Mexim. So in that right, I look at Noble Jew Ali, to me, in that right for bringing he represents that introduction to Islam. And in that case, he is a prophet, a messenger, not in a super religious sense, but he was a messenger because he was part of our school of thought.
Because he had an actual message. He came with an actual message.
Yeah, he came with a message. You know what I'm saying? So we got to respect that, and even with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, even with, Father God Allah, even with the Israelites that came, the black Israelites, Ben Amin and the ones that exist in the 1900s, all that's part of who we are. We have to accept that. See, the African in America represent, I call us Western Sudanic Congo Creole. We're Creole people. So we have to embrace the stories and the different things that makes us up, each component, from Harriet Tubman to Noble Drew Ali. So Noble Drew Ali is important. Some people don't agree with his teachings, but he plays a major role in our story of how we even get this so-called metaphysic teaching and all that. He played a role in that. I mean, this man had his own business that he was running. He had stores. He had all types of stuff. He's buried right here in Illinois in Bear Oak Cemetery. So I give credence to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I can't do nothing but honor him.
Like Nat Turner. He was an avid Christian, but he still was one of my favorite people. You know what I mean?
He definitely was.
Yeah.
He definitely was. And we gotta, and I'm glad you brought that up, King, because the black church plays a major role in our story over here. Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a Christian. You know, so the thing is that we shouldn't have to we shouldn't have to downplay our history because of people's belief. I mean, Malcolm X was a great man and he practiced Islam. I'm not going to take that away from him. Marcus Garvey, who gave him our flag, was a Christian.
And those Garveyites.
So we have to understand it's a difference between the black church and the white church. I understand that Jesus, regardless of how they make him look to us, it was always a deeper. The black people give Christianity flavor. You ever been to a black church?
Oh yeah.
Listen,
I grew up in one.
Definitely. Yeah.
That shit really touch you.
Yeah.
Like you ever seen
like a concert.
Yeah, it's like a concert. Or you ever seen a person catch the Holy Ghost? That shit going on
all the time.
Yo, that's the same power that you find happening in Cameroon or in the Congo. It's going on right now. So, I understand
like the tribal circles, the tribal.
It's the same thing. So I understand that Jesus or Yahweh is my salvation, or Yahshua, which means Yahweh is my salvation, or I am, is a representation of the greatness or goodness of us. Even though it was given to us, we took that shit, remixed it, and gave it flavor. That's what it is.
Flipped it, gave it right back. I feel it. Oh man, make some noise, yo. This is crazy here tonight, man. Yo, it was another question someone had. I just saw Marcus Garvey. It was that is back up there. Somebody had said something. I was like, I was gonna come with that. It was about they got Rabbi Matthews, Rabbi Ford, original. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Rabbi Ford. Yeah. All that was part of who we are. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff helped liberate who we are. And I don't, I find a lot of people debating over that shit, yo.
Yeah.
And it's pointless.
Yeah.
Because it's all part of what makes us who we are. It all was tools that we use to get us to where we got to be. Like, look, my mother is a whole immigrant. My mother's Fulani. My mother was born in Algeria. My mother's Fulani. Her father was from Gal near Senegal. So we're Fulani. But what I'm saying is that even them over there, they know the power and importance of the African American culture and how we touch the world. We get this shit flavor. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying, yo. We gotta embrace that, yo.
Okay. Nasif, he asks, what about Suma? Do you is Suma older than Kemet? I know that debate be going on for a minute.
Yeah, no, it's not
back
older.
And forth.
No, yeah, it's not older than Kemet. The thing is, Sumer is old, but Sumer is old, but Sumer isn't as old as Kemet. Because again, if you look at Egypt from the consensus, they limit and trim Egypt's history. There is no such thing as an Egypt. Again, Egypt is a zone from Hecapatata, the Greeks label. We're talking about Nile Valley civilization. Nile Valley civilization, there are components that makes up a civilization. It's just, and I broke that down in my last debate on what the components is that makes up a civilization. You find this happening in the Nile Valley before you find it in Mesopotamia. Now, in Mesopotamia, they had, older customs, but it wasn't as complex as you had in the Nile Valley, the sense of proto-writing, all that. Even the wedge language that the cuneiform had, which was unique because it was a wedge language. That's what cuneiform, it means wedge language. It was unique in a sense of keeping contact on grains and goat hooks because it was a receipt language. It was a stamp receipt language. But you have syntax and cognates and complexity that's being written in the Nile Valley all the way in near the early Green Sahara, east of the Sahara Oasis, where these people are writing. Even before you have the complex form of writing, you have art.
Shout out. Pardon me.
So,
We just give it a shout out. Go ahead.
peace, and love to fam.
Yeah.
So the Sumerians are old, but they're not as old as Egypt. But they had ties with Egypt. They traded. They did different things. You find like in the second phase of the Nakata period, not the first phase of the Nakata period, but the second phase of the Nakata period in Egypt, you find a lot of Sumerian art. And when you look at Sumerian, certain customs that they had, certain metals that they use and certain things, they got it from the Nile Valley. So there was a lot of exchange. But go ahead.
My question is, I always bugged out on a little bit on the Sumerians' artwork. Mm-hmm. They didn't look, they kind of look weird, you know what I mean? And the artwork that I seen that they left, the artifacts, they look kind of bugged out to me. Could you explain something? I mean, what was that? You know what I'm saying? like those eyes and stuff like that. They almost look like Greek, like a little bit. It almost look Greek a little bit. This is weird.
A lot of the images that you found of Sumerians, some of that is Gutians, which is the modern day people of Kurdistan. Some of it. But the thing about the Sumerians is that they wasn't people. A lot of people see. I'm a realist. I don't believe in like blackenizing everything because we learned that from white people. White people do that. White people make everything white. We don't have to do that. We got great history. The Sumerians were not black. They wasn't. They were a brown people. They were in relations with people that were black. They were, but they had people that they were networking with in Arata. Arata is modern day Ukraine.
Arata people of
and they had Indian merchants. They just recently, if you type up Indian merchant mtDNA found in Mesopotamia, from the Bronze Age to the Roman Age, type it up. I want the audience to type it up. Indian merchant DNA in Mesopotamia from the Bronze Age to Roman Age. So you find a Dravidian slight population that was responsible for the so-called Sumerian. Even the term Sigagigi, it doesn't mean Babylonian blackhead. That's a mistranslation. That's false. So the Sumerians, some of them were people of color, and some of them were lighter skinned people from the Aratsa zones. Some of that art isn't them, but some of the art is them.
Just wow, right? They had a lot of crazy bull body. They had a lot of crazy artifacts in there.
The Gala kings, you'll be, if you get deeper into Sumerian, you study the Mesopotamian stuff, it becomes disgusting.
Right. You really get deep. Yeah, very sexual and crazy, huh? Some wild stuff in there. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. The land of Mu, Lemuria. What are we dealing with? The origins of Lemuria. Yeah. Lemuria.
When I was with the Amon-Ra squad, we actually called Albert Churchwood's cousin who made that up, and his grandson said that his grandfather made that up. It was a lie. There is no Lemuria. Yeah, look up Amon-Ra squad. Go on Blog Talk Radio.
We need to say it's about to be on right now. Hold up. You just made one of a boldest statement ever. Can we get some noise on this one? Say that again, brother.
So it was through brother Ishmael Bey. Ishmael Bey was part of Amon-Ra squad. So we had a show on Blog Talk Radio. So we called the Churchwood grandson who created the Lemurian story. And he said that my grandfather made it up. He made it up. So there was no Lemuria. There was
no crazy. That's some crazy. That's some deep allegations right there. That's heavy, man. Wow.
Hey, go to Blog Talk. Go to Blog Talk.
Oh, we definitely will.
Yeah.
I got some LT right here, and it just won't open up. That's good looking. I'll get it. Oh, it's just hot, huh? No. So, when you tilt it. Oh, okay. Just tilt it, right? Yeah. Oh, I don't see in there. Shout outs, man. Make some noise, man. That's crazy stuff. Wow. For real. So the land of Mu is all, so spirit, what's that? Spirit science and all that stuff that they be talking about is all false. Y'all hear that chat room? I know the chat room gonna go crazy right now.
hey, yo. Spirit science got some deep stuff in it, especially when it talks about like a lot of the hermetic corpus or hermetic information,
Right.
all that. But a lot of that stuff is
it's ginger in here, straight ginger. My bag, brother.
Yeah, it's all good, King.
AD trying to give me a tea bag. Nah, brother, it got to be loose tea in here.
Straight ginger.
Yeah, straight ginger. Go ahead. We'll build on that. We'll build on that, AD. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but
Good
a lot of that
looking,
stuff. A lot of that stuff is it's a lot of that stuff is it's some of the spirit science stuff is false. It's pseudo.
Believable.
Yeah. You just gotta look. You gotta look at it. You know, they mix and mingle a lot of different stuff, man, and it's not what they say. So yeah, when you get a chance to look up the Land of Mu King, you know, it's a show on a Roscoe. We did it years ago. His grandson said he made it up, yo.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of that stuff is put in play to denounce Africa. It's no different than when they talk about aliens building the pyramids. There's no truth for that. They found, you can type up on Live Science, ancient Egyptian workers who built the pyramids. So instead of giving credit to Africans, they want to give it to an extraterrestrial or some other magical place. It's disrespectful.
All right.
So we have somebody in the chat room that wants to know, do you believe Master Farad might have been a Sufi master?
I believe Master.
Good question.
I believe Master Farad Muhammad was. I actually think he was from Pakistan or near India, or actually Turkey, because of the flag. The symbol that they use for their flag is a Turkish flag. I do think he was a Sufi. Yes, I do. I think he was Sufi. Yeah, I do. I think he was a Sufi teacher. I do.
Okay.
That was heavy right there. So the flag was the flag.
That flag that they use with the NOI, it's Turkish. I mean, I don't know if they changed the custom, and I honestly believe that it's two things. I believe that, and I'm not saying I know for sure, but I believe that he was either of Turkish descent or Pakistan. Okay. But I do think he was Sufi. When you get deep into the teachings and studying the lessons, that's a lot. You find a lot of that in Sufi teachings. You know, he just Sufi. Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy. That was heavy right there, man. Wow, you just blew me away with the Turkish flag thing. That kind of took me. I gotta get into that science right there. That was a Turkish flag, huh?
Yeah, the Sufi teachings. The Sufi teachings is very powerful in Turkey, bro. You know, even Turkey and Iran always had a connection. Even when you deal with a lot of the Sufi teachers from Rumi, you know, Rumi was. You find a lot of the ancient Persian teachings. They were developed near Iran. But if you study the Sufi sect in Turkey, it has ties with Iran. Those zones are very connected, and I think that the Master Farad Muhammad was from there.
Wow. That's heavy right there. You have to meditate on that one.
Sean L. believes the Israelites built the Great Wall of China.
Nah.
They bugging
that. Now, to my brother Sean L., there are records on the people that built the Great Wall of China. The Chinese got lineage of that. You can see that to this day. No, Israelites, they just stretched that part of China.
Yeah, okay. That's one thing about China. They were great in keeping their records. Very great in that.
Hell yeah.
The Vedas.
Oh yeah.
The Vedas. When you go back into ancient India, man, that's old too. Very old. Where was that during the time of the Natufians and all of this stuff? How did they fit in?
The Indians, before you had the Hindus or Sanskrit, you had the Harappa civilization. The Harappa civilization were the Dravidians and the Adamanese group that came together to form the Harappa group. And they actually old as well. They just as old as the Sumerians, if you study Harappa civilization. You know, you don't find a Hindu or Veda sense, a Veda in the sense of wisdom, you don't find those scriptures start to form until they mingle with populations that's coming from Iran that bring the Indo-European language family. Sanskrit or San, that language is part of the Indo-European language family. So they were mingled with populations coming from, again, that Anatolian, Turkish, Iran wave before migrating into India. It's not like how the British taught us that it was a Aryan invasion. But there is, based off the recent components and looking at the Sanskrit language, Hindi, and looking at the language, it's part of the Indo-European language family. So is Persian or Farsi. So is British. So is French. So is Spanish. All these people come from a group of people called the Yemenayas. The Yemenayas came from the Russian steppes. So before that, and it only goes back 4,000 years before they started to dominate areas. The Sanskrit, before you get the Bhagavad Gita or the Mahabharata and all these different scriptures, you find the Gita as it was created by a man named Vaina, which give you the narrative, the story text of Krishna and Shiva. A lot of the stories change. So the Javedians and the people in India, they had their own customs before even Hinduism. A lot of that stuff comes from earlier systems that exist prior before you get the Sanskrit or the Hindu Vedas that we find now. A lot of it. And we got to go back to the Harappa civilization. And before the Harappa civilization, we got to start studying the Proto-Anabanese groups of people that were there and other groups that were there before creating the Harappa civilization of India.
Wow, yeah, man. Some heavy stuff right here. That makes some noise. Yeah, it's popping tonight. It's popping tonight. Yo, isn't it shadow? Are we in the shadow of retrograde? We're in the shadow of the retrograde, bro. You deal with the astronomy also?
I deal with astronomy a little bit. I deal with astronomy. I deal with astronomy more than astrology. But
Okay.
I deal with I definitely do it. But I think it's important to people that deal with, stars and understanding the seasons and things. You know what I'm saying? It's powerful. It's part of our culture.
All right. That brings in AD. AD sitting up there. That's AD's on right there, the astronomy.
I'm just listening. Man. Taking it all in, man. This is very interesting stuff.
So if you follow that, we in the first day of the shadow retrograde. Mercury retrograde. Have you heard of that? Or is that, do you believe that's pseudo too?
I think it's I wouldn't call it. I think it's some truth to it because each season represents a phase of activity. Like, for example,
That's real.
what we see going on in our city, especially in Chicago, due to the retrograde, a lot of wild activity is happening for a reason.
Wow.
And if we study the Vedas, we understand the Kali Yuga, the Iron Age. So at this time, civilizations collapse and there's war and there's anarchy. And Kemet is the season of Atum, which represents the setting sun. So yeah, I definitely agree that in certain angles or phases of our climate and our environment, there are certain gateways that can be opened. There are certain portals that can be opened that changes the frequency or the signals that we receive. That's what I'm saying. Like, the organism receives signals from the environment before we react. You're not in control of anything. The body is just a costume having an experience.
That's right.
We're quantum particles having a human experience. And we receive signals based off the different things that we see going on environmentally. So this is not it. This costume that we see, this holographic canvas that we play this role in. So what I'm saying is that, yes, there are things that's opened up and certain gateways that's opened up and certain seasons that's opened up where certain frequencies are responsible for the settings that we see in our daily activity. Absolutely.
Right. That was heavy. People don't realize that we do live on a planet, and the planet is in space. You know what I'm saying? We are on the planet. This
like
rock
the moon,
right
just like the moon have gravitational pull, you know what I'm saying? Keeping the oceans and making the tides rise and fall, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We all that resonate within us also.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know what's important? What the God just said? Without you to experience all that, none of it matters. And that's the power of consciousness. You have to be the will to receive. That's what the Kabbalah talks about, the will to receive. You receive the sephirah or the activity, and you make it out through your daily experience, what you see cognitively. You without you receiving signal, how could you see what's going on, or how could you hear what's going on without you being there to witness it? The witness is you, and the witness is consciousness. That's it. Consciousness is the ground of all being, and that's all that exists. Consciousness. Everything else is just opinion and objective reality, or waves collapsing of particles on, over and over and over, on and off, on and off. That's how reality works. That's the symbolism that we find with in ancient Kemet with Amun Ra. Lights on, lights off, metaphorically. But outside of that, just dealing with basic physics and understanding how energy equal mass times the speed of light squared, and understand vectors and understand quantum particles. In our modern understanding of how physics and how things work based off distant range and speed, you can see the activity and behavior of how without you, there is nothing that matters because the witness has to give observation to activity in order to make out the structure or give it structure. You have something in your brain called colostrum that orchestrates consciousness to bear witness to things that we see chemically or even be able to experience this reality daily. That's it.
That's deep.
Powerful.
That's deep. Yeah, drop
That
on
was
phone.
powerful, brother. That's what he does. That's what he
follow
does.
that.
Make some noise for the NGOZI, yo.
Peace and love, God.
Yeah.
Speak your truth, bro. Speak always.
We here, man. So, yo, I really appreciate, man, when you allow me to have the opportunity to come on the show, man. I really want to let the world know, man. You know, it's time for us to, you know, to have more patience with one another, man. There's a lot of challenges and changes going on out there. I mean, I just seen the Black Panther lose his life. This dude was influential, Chad Boseman. You know, this dude was, you know, he played a major role for us, and he's gone. There's a lot of things going on. 2020, if we want to deal with astrology, not astronomy, but astrology and understanding numerology, 2020 was a harsh year. It was.
You think so? It's crazy, yo. Yeah, go ahead.
It came in with a bang, God. I mean, the base introduction to the fucking year was Kobe Bryant. So what I'm saying is, like, come on, bro.
Before that, didn't Trump shoot down soon as it was like a week after New Year's, he just shot the dude down in Arabia or something, the guy in the plane.
In Iran.
Yeah.
I mean, yo, that's what I'm saying. This shit crazy, bro. That's what I'm saying. So we want to have more patience for one another, man, and
that's real.
And that's what really matters, man, for real. Because there's a lot of crazy shit happening. But I definitely think people should get more involved in meditation, proper eating, proper breathing, and listening to the science of the earth, or listening to the signals of the earth, and being more in tune with self. You know, we don't have to overly react, because we have to understand that you are the witness. You are not what you think. You are not the objects. You are not none of that thing. Those things come and go. That's the importance, yo.
Yo.
Indeed, I agree.
With that, yeah, I agree. In a grand finale agreement with listen to the universe and everything, man.
Absolutely.
You got any way that they can reach you for the fans out there and for people?
Oh yeah. The Facebook page is Justice Amir, and I'm on Instagram. It's also Justice Amir, and I'm here. I'm still writing a book. I don't know if I told you about it. You know it's the beginning of how we develop. But I'm really trying to work this book based off. You know, it's called Our Human Experience. But also, I'm trying to work a book right on this book called The Magi. And it's something like a philosophy book, like the Art of War or the Tao Te Ching.
Right.
But it's giving us a narrative of how to function as men and how to do certain things and certain customs with our own unique philosophy. So if you study like the Art of War or the Tao Te Ching, it's gonna be something like that, yo.
Okay. Man, I'm looking forward to reading that. Yeah, for real, that sounds powerful.
One of my favorite literatures, the Art of War.
Oh yeah.
Trouble Man asks, how do you work on proper breathing? Are you up on that science?
Oh yeah. Well. For me, you know, I do a lot of meditation every morning. I practice Zazen form of meditation. That's the best form of meditation with silence. I don't really breathe in through my chest. I breathe in through my stomach, and I count my breath. I count my breath 5 times, and I just deal with proper breathing. The thing is when you understand the science of breath, you can oxidate the cells in the body better in order for you to have a proper impulse and better blood circulation. For example, I'm 34 years old. Bro, I'm running 9 or 8 miles. I mean, I do this. I mean, because it's all about breath, and I try to eat right. And the thing is that we understand the science of food, and we even a grain of marijuana we smoke. I mean, it's a science to that shit, yo. You know what I'm saying?
The plants know we here.
You know, I agree with that.
Yeah. The plants know we here.
So, yo, talk about your diet.
Well, for me, I'm not vegan. I eat like lean meats, but I try to get meats without nitrates, because nitrates is one of the key formulas that's responsible for causing cancer or abnormal cell development. So I eat the only meats I eat is like turkey, chicken, and fish, but certain types of fish. But I mostly eat vegetables. I stay away from bread. I don't eat bread. If I do eat bread, it'd be like sourdough without the yeast. The yeast is a major component
Spelt.
for us developing. Spelt or
Yeah.
Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel
Yeah.
bread or spelt bread.
Yeah.
And you want to stay away from a lot of bread because the yeast is one of the major components that's responsible for a lot of us catching leaky gut or that bloated sensation. So most of my diet consists of vegetables, fruit, water, BPA bottles, BPA-free bottles, because the bottles that has that BPA chemical in there is responsible for a lot of men catching a condition called gynecomastia, breast hormone development in the chest.
Yep.
So I try to eat so it's power in food. It's even power in certain types of meat that we eat, like the halal meats or the kosher meat that the so-called Jews have. Those meats are good. You don't want to eat a lot of the chemicals with the nitrates and different things, with all the sterilization that they put in there that's responsible for a lot of our illnesses that we have and the sicknesses that we have. Yo.
That's real.
True indeed.
Processed.
True indeed. That's why I stay away from soy, because it's it's like it's the opposite of testosterone. It's like,
Yes, estrogen.
yeah, the estrogen.
Yeah.
It says it raises estrogen levels.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's why.
it increases the estrogen level. And the thing is about foods is that what you eat or certain things, is the nutrients that you take in. If you're not getting nutrients, like you can get a person out here that's obese as fuck and they lack nutrients. They're nutrient deficient because the food that they're eating is not nutritious.
Indeed.
So we understand amino acids and nutrients. We have to understand why their organs is functioning the way it functions. What are you compacting on there? What are you compacting on the cellular walls? How's your cholesterol levels, your HDLs and your LDLs? How is these levels flowing properly? Are you taking in the proper garlic intake? Antioxidant foods, blueberry, raspberries, different things, Joe. You want to take that in.
You said Joe? That's that real shout out. You said Joe. Did you say Joe? Yo, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, but we want to just take in, proper foods, man, and have a balanced diet, yo. And that's what helps us live long. That's what strengthens the telomeres. The telomeres is a small skeleton of the cell. That's your lifeline as an organism. The telomeres. You strengthen the telomeres by eating right, breathing right, thinking right, not letting in negativity. All that stuff weakens the nervous system. And once your nervous system gets weak, psychologically, you start to go through all types of things cognitively. You start to hallucinate. You start to think everybody's against you. You get a state of paranoia or psychosis and different things because of the things that you're taking in. So we got to breathe right. We got to eat right. We got to think right. And we can't allow negativity in. And if you can't control it, fuck it. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't worry about it. And that's the
What you say?
Stem cells.
Stem cells. Yeah.
And that's the science that a lot of people don't understand. One of the science is not understanding how to say fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're holding on to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
That's where I'm at. Stoicism.
One of my favorite sayings is "What will be, will be."
It is what
I mean?
it is what it is. As the Tao would say, as it is, self-so. That's the Tao. The Tao is the way. So the thing is that it is what it is.
Right.
You can't do what you can. There's no need to hold on and try to lock up things because you're straining your organism. You're straining your cells. You're putting stress on the body. You're affecting your nervous system. And it's not the way to die at 50, 60, or 70. Where people living to be 80 and 90 now. So the thing is that long life is the way. That's what I said. I think if you're 30, you should feel just as good as you was when you were 20. Even if you're 40 to do fucking 20 or 50. People are just fucking right. You feel me?
Indeed.
So that's just what I say, yo.
Yeah.
Talking to a couple of 50-year-olds.
Yeah. That's crazy, yo. Yo. Oh man. Yeah. Yo, that's crazy. Yo, what you because I know it's dying out now. And we talked about this. What you think about the coronavirus? So I want to ask that, and it's a two-part question because they want to remind me of the North American Indians because I want to go into that a little bit about the North American Indian and the origins of the so-called American Indian.
So coronavirus, this corona stuff isn't new. SARS is old, severe acute respiratory syndrome. You find it in MERS, Middle Eastern acute respiratory syndromes. You had SARS before you had COVID-19 or SARS-2. This is a newer strand that jumped out from pangolin to bats. And it's something in science called horizontal gene transference. So the virus kind of evolved. So we don't know if the shit was created in a laboratory to help wipe out motherfuckers, or if it actually did happen in a wet market and it jumped out from pangolin to bats. Now the thing is that in wet markets, filthy shit do happen, nasty shit do happen, and viruses can transfer. I mean, in the wet market, you got animals. They killing animals. There's blood everywhere. There's ice everywhere. People pissing and shit and all types of nasty shit. And you're taking in one of those. Viruses are small microbacteria. I mean, not bacteria, but microparticles. A bacteria and a virus is different. Viruses are way smaller than that. They're small microparticles. Very, 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 very small, and it's easy for it to leak in. And what this virus does is a glycoprotein. A glycoprotein hooks on a latch onto the cells. Viruses need a host to live, and a host that it lives on is a cell. So it attacks the cells, and it attacks the respiratory system. That's what this virus does. So these small microparticles, or what we know as this virus, that's really a glycoprotein that latches on to living cells. It affects the respiratory system. And again, SARS isn't new. You had one form of it, SARS, severe acute respiratory system. This is SARS-2, or COVID-19, the second strand of it. So what's going to happen is that you're going to go through a flush phase. And the flush phase is kind of like dying out. But as it gets cold, the numbers are going to spike back up. It's going to spike back up again, but people are handling it differently. Now, a lot of us have herd immunities. A lot of us caught it, and we developed the pathogen. Once you develop the pathogen, you should be able to, your body understand how to function and go against it. Once the pathogen is developed in the body, after you get it and survive. But it only lasts 90 days. So after 90 days, you can take it again. So the thing is that the numbers are going to spike up in this flush phase again, but then it's going to die out. And it's going to die out eventually, but eventually we're going to become immune to it. As harsh as it sounds, I think that people need to just live their life because, it's just, you can't stop it. A virus is going to come out every 25 to 50 years.
That's real.
And eventually humans are going to develop the herd immunity to it and adjust to it. And once that happens, once people start developing the pathogen, it's going to be like a common cold or flu. People will learn to adjust to it as usual.
Indeed.
But in between, people are going to die. In the first.
I agree.
Yep.
Toast to you, bro. Some cold brew right here. Cold brew coffee right here. Yeah. You a tea drinker or a coffee drinker?
Hey yo, I like to drink black coffee, but I do drink or tea, herbs, but I do enjoy black coffee though.
Yeah, that's me too. I do both of them.
Yeah,
I only drink coffee if I'm actually need to stay awake. Like if I'm driving or something like that. If I actually need to stay awake, I'll drink some black coffee. Other than that, I'm a tea man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tea good for you, bro. Tea it helps opens up the CoQ10, your oxygen levels. Tea is beneficial. It helps relax you. It's good for the nervous system. Yeah, tea is definitely, especially it depends. The green tea that you take is different types of green tea. I go to this Oriental joint out here in Chinatown. Out here in Chicago, they got a lot of good, different green teas. Turmeric, garlic, and all that, cayenne, all that.
Yeah,
this guy's the tea master right here. This guy has many tea shops all over LA.
Yeah, I call myself, and I'll call you too. I call us teachers.
Hey, that's what we is.
Yeah, tea cheese.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So this is man, I love this podcast, man. This podcast is going in. And we're going in with the truth right now. You know what I'm saying? You're dropping a lot of good science. Shout out to the chat room. Y'all got any more questions? Make sure you hit that subscribe. And
I seen a question earlier. They want you to build on the Illuminati, and why is the Illuminati trying to kill the original people?
Shit, at this time, Illuminati got original people in it. Racism isn't even a color thing no more. White supremacy comes in all flavors of the rainbow. Like, for example, when the feds come and get you, who you see? You see black federal cops, you see white federal cops, you see all of them. So it's like, white supremacy is a system that was set in motion, and it applies by anybody that choose to live by those customs. And if you choose to live by those customs, it don't matter if you're as dark as space or as white as snow. You live based off, white supremacy. So the Illuminati, the system, the goal is to go through cleansing anyway. They want to depopulate the world. The world is too, you have selfish, greedy people. And it goes back to the 5% lessons, the 10%, the 85, and the 5%. The 10%ers control this shit, yo. And the 85 is in the way. And it's casualty of war If you in the way or in between, you're gonna get hit. Innocent bystanders get hit. That's part of the sacrifice. That's the metaphor of the sacrificial lamb. It has to happen.
Wow.
What will happen? What happens in our neighborhoods before they come get it? It goes through gentrification. They let these motherfuckers execute each other, wipe each other out, cause inflation, poverty line drops. Once that happens, they allow these people to eradicate themselves and destroy one another. Then they turn around and buy this shit up. And after they buy it up and allow the tax bracket to go up and down based off what they refer to as economic stabulets, what happens is that they wring it down, dry it down, and then turn around and let you come back once they're done using it. So they move you around like chess. It's a game. America's a corporation. It's a business. And if you don't know how to keep up with it, the market, you fall. That's the game.
That's deep.
Man.
That's real.
Can I get a all right, so who are the North American Indians? The American Indians. That's the question they asking. The Native American Indians.
Well, the first Native Americans, again, they were, they found in tombs where you find people that was over here 34,000 years ago. And a lot of the older population of natives, because of the timeline that they migrated from north to south, they live in Brazil and South America today. They have more of the oldest components than the ones that kept coming through that land bridge. So it's different phases. So the first phase was a Paleo-Mongoloid population that descended from an Australoid transitional population. They had more robust features, darker skin, wide faces, but they had the mutation called Eterlocus. So their hair was still jet black and straight, but they were darker, the first wave. This gave rise to the COVID cultures. Afterwards, you get more groups of people that's developing on the land bridge, that's developing their own unique mutations that study coming over. So the ones you found with more of the robust features, the broad lips, the big nose, the wider faces, that you found with the Olmec statues, or the ones in Brazil and the Amazon, those are fragments of the earliest populations that migrated over here. That's part of the original man family that I talk about as a reminder of those Homo sapien traits that develop in tropical zones anyway. You have something called polytopicity, or throwback polymorphisms, where, certain features can come back because you live in specific areas. If we understand how genetics or epigenetics works, epigenetics genes can be turned on and off based off certain things that's going on in the environment. You get what I'm saying? So the original population that was here, you found in Brazil, in the Amazon.
Okay. Somebody wanted to know, could you build on the Hanifa?
The Hanifa, which group is that? I never heard of the Hanifa.
Hanifa, was it? Is that what a Hanifa? Can you roll that down, AZ? It was Hanifa, Hanifa.
I never heard of that.
No.
Never heard of that.
Me either.
Somebody just throwing some
stuff
out there.
Yeah, trying to be funny. Trying to be funny. Tell us the origins of the Smurfs, right? Who was the original Smurfs, right? Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yo, anything else you want to say?
Man, hey, yo, I just thank you, man. Street Sufi movement, because we're Sufis. We're gonna have meditation sessions, man. We're gonna be doing deep meditation sessions, and I want people to join.
I would like to join. I would like to.
Oh, you could, King. It's gonna be on my Instagram, but I'm gonna start it off in a Facebook group, and once they let me back on, Justice Amir, and then I'm gonna start doing these. I'm gonna set up a YouTube channel as well, because I want us to do more meditation, and I'm gonna show people proper ways of dealing with meditation and proper breathing, yo.
What's one of the deepest forms of meditation?
Man, to me, it's Zazen, because Zazen meditation, that form of Buddhism, teaches you to be centered. It's not about like you got transitional meditation and different types of things where you focus on colors and focus on this whole thing is about forgetting and not being connected to nothing. You actually become the witness. You don't even have to have your eyes open to focus on an object. You really become a witness. You don't get caught up in the thoughts. You let the thoughts come and go. You don't get attached to the thoughts, and you focus on the breath until you completely blank out and see nothingness, or that anatta, that no self, nothingness, that real vacuum state that's responsible for everything.
I'm gonna try that one. I did the Vipassana. You've heard of that one?
How long have you practiced that before you reach that state?
It take a while. Once you start meditating, man, you might get an itch somewhere to irritate you. You might start thinking about weird thoughts and because a lot of us get attached to our thoughts. We get attached to our thoughts, and we don't know how to let go. And then we start thinking about something that frustrates us or make us happy. But the thing is, you don't want to
keep
get
dropping
caught.
it, brother. Yeah, keep dropping it. Keep dropping it.
But-
no, you
but
hit. Go ahead.
But the thing is, you don't want to get caught up in an impulse because impulses are illusions. Feelings come and go. You don't want to get caught up in just like thoughts come and go. And a problem with our suffering is that we get caught up in thoughts. Thoughts stagnate us. That's the whole metaphor between Samson and Delilah. Or when a woman was, he told her to keep going forward, and if she looked back, she's going to turn to a pillar of salt.
Lot.
That pillar of salt is a metaphor. Yeah, it's Lot. Yeah. In the metaphor of Lot, she looked back and she turned to a pillar of salt. The salt. What does salt do? What does salt do? Understand what it does. It preserves. It's
Preserve, yeah.
Right. So the thing is, with the metaphor of that, you don't want to get caught in thoughts. Thoughts come and go. Feelings come and go. And the thing is that we suffer because we get attached to thoughts. We think that this is what it is, or this is what it's supposed to be. No, it's a phase. Things come and go, and what's important is now. We learned that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery. What's important is now. Once you get in tune with the nowness, all that other shit don't even matter. You get what I'm saying? You are not who you were yesterday. You don't know who the fuck you're gonna be tomorrow. But what's important is understanding now. And now is what gives you the opportunity to make a conscious decision. So the thing is that in the beginning of meditation, you're not gonna reach that state right then and there because you got to go through all the stagnated thoughts, all the past, everything that you experienced, shit that you did. And, you know what we do is we receive these signals based off our daily experience. We are a result of our activity. So we accumulate it, we make it out, we remember it, and then we got to live with it after we remember it, after we receive the imprint from it, after we experience it. The thing is that you want to let all that shit go and understand that you are in control once you become the witness. And that's the importance of understanding the science of breath while doing proper meditation and letting go.
That's deep. That's deep. I'm definitely going to join too.
Oh, yeah, for sure, King.
That was
for sure,
heavy.
King.
Yeah, that was heavy.
Yeah,
That was dope.
We
That
got-
was dope. All right.
And we do gotta give our sponsors a shout out right now. You know what I mean? Stay Fresh Clothing and Afro Kid Clothing and Cherry Cola.
Yeah,
Cherry Cola Farms, all our sponsors. And anybody interested in becoming a sponsor, they should hit you up at killerpriest.com.
TV.
.tv. Yeah, it's killerpriest.tv. Yep. But yeah, man, I appreciate all the knowledge you dropping on us today, brother. This was enlightening. This was real enlightening.
Yeah, you
I
can.
thank you guys, man, for allowing me to come on, man. Peace to y'all, man. Thank you, Killer Priest, man. Y'all my family.
No problem, brother.
It's number love, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. When I come out there, man, I want to go to, I guess, Greek Town or somewhere.
Oh, yeah, Greek Town popping, man.
Yeah.
Greek Town and Little Italy.
Hello, Italy.
too.
Yeah, get some pasta. Yeah, exactly. Yo, I want to say, brother, it was enlightening. It was, I mean, what you dropped today was incredible, and
Yes, sir.
it inspired me. And also, keep going, man. You have a great mind, and
I say.
many blessings, and keep going, man. And for all y'all in the chat room too, man. Always stay up, man. And I like the jewel that you gave. Somebody said the real Kanye, because you did. Yeah, you get that a lot. Yeah, you did. You did. Brother. You don't know the truth. You don't know the truth, but you did drop. You like the evolved version. You did drop some. Yeah. I saw that. I saw that a little bit, but you know, that's all gravy, brother. Yeah, you take that
Gold
way.
Beats want to know where gold come from. He been asking that all night.
Gold. Gold is the real
Yes.
Gold
Yeah, he
Gold
bugging.
gold is the real metal.
Yeah. Some things, yeah. Where you think gold come from, bro?
yeah, Gold Beats. Where you think? Yeah.
I mean, it comes from ancient earthly pressures. When you understand how it evolved and how it developed, the pressures from the earth and stone allow it to develop. You know, we got to get into what they call Elliott clusters, which allowed it to evolve. You even find they just found certain planets in space. Gold connected to certain planets in space, yo. But it's really based off of pressure. It's called pressure Elliots, which is responsible for allowing those type of minerals to develop, like gold, things to develop properly naturally.
Yeah.
So it's developed pressure.
Yeah, they got planets made out of gold and
Diamonds.
and ruby.
And diamonds, yeah.
Totally. So that's humbling. All right, brother.
But I'm gonna say this before I go.
All right, go ahead.
The Anunnaki ain't come to look for it. We don't want to believe that Zachariah.
Oh man, we can go into yeah. That's a whole nother subject for another day, brother. We definitely gonna have you back on here, man. Word for real.
Peace to you, brothers.
Peace, Lord.
Peace to you, brother.
Peace, King.
All right.
Peace.
Yo, that was heavy stuff, yo.
Yeah, it was deep.
Yeah, it was heavy. It was heavy. For y'all that's sticking around, man. I want to thank y'all for coming and hanging out with me on a Wednesday, hanging out with Divine Truth and AD. AD was kind of quiet today, but that's how AD is.
Yo, I'm
AD 's
learning
cool.
though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to let him do his thing and talk
it's
about it.
Yeah, that's one thing about that brother. His mind is golden, man. Yeah, he went through. I wanted him the next time he come on here to let people know what he went through. You know what I mean? That's crazy. I think the brother had shot before.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So to have that type of knowledge and go through that type of situation, he's open about that. So I let him break that down last time. Someone says Anunnaki backwards is I know, huh?
What?
It's kind of dope. Man, hit that subscribe button in that chat. I'm still here with you for a little while before we land the plane or whatever.
A lot of people is thanking for this episode, man.
Oh yeah, where they saying that at?
Yeah.
Oh, triple shout out to Triple JC
90
and Fifth 90. We got Roy Roots is in the house. Shout out to Roy Roots. I see you, brother. Always in there. You the one that said that. Okay, Fifth 90. Yup. Peace crew for the episode. Yeah. Woo Wednesdays. Well, we want to call it something different than Woo Wednesday. Everybody run with Woo Wednesdays. I like Wisdom Wednesdays, or because everybody got we are Woo Wednesdays. You know what I'm saying? But just call it something different or whatever. Something like wisdom or.
Somebody want to know what happened to Lord Superb.
Lord Superb passed away. He passed away, brother. R.I.P. to his family and stuff. Lord Superb, they used to run with Ray and them, Ghost. Yeah, he had passed away in Far Rockaway. And a very sad time. So yeah, I'm gonna let y'all. We're gonna wind it down. Yeah, I like that. Roy Roots Wizard Wednesdays. Hey, how about that?
I mean, it depends on the guest because we flip it up so much.
Yeah, we
You know
might
what
have
I'm
some
saying?
girls on
We
here.
got some girls up here, and it's like
then
then that's more like WAP Wednesday.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So it might be WAP, it might be Wizard, you never know what's going to be.
Roy Roots came in dope, but Wakanda Wednesdays. I like
Ooh.
that. That's
dope.
kind of hard.
Okay.
Wakanda Wednesdays. Yeah, exactly.
So we'll flip it up
Yeah,
every
we
single
flip it.
time.
Yeah, we flip it because sometimes we have the mermaids come through. Then we have the wizards. We have
We got random skateboarders that'll pop up.
we have random skateboarders.
Who
Shout out
else?
to C1s.
C1, hot dancers.
Hope you out there looking at hot dancers. We haven't had Oceana.
Yeah, we got other girls coming too. We got Tashi
we
T's.
Tashi T's coming through.
Tashi
yeah.
T's gonna come through, and there's a few
T's.
more.
Yeah,
Tashi T's is next though.
See what's going on out there with everybody building their websites and getting their groove on, because everybody who's building their business, you do the farming thing and everybody's like building their business. Shout out to everybody who's out there that's making something happen out of just with their bare hands or with their mind. Shout out to everybody. I want to send a shout out to people who don't procrastinate and get up and push themselves to do what they got to do.
Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean?
People out there manifesting that wisdom. You know what I mean? Bringing forth that understanding. You know what I mean? Something tangible. Something that's actually that we can actually see and we can actually use.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Somebody said the Drunken Monk C1s. Yeah, no, somebody said the Drunken Monk C1s. Yeah, C1s we get tough. But we have fun though, man. Shout out to C1s, man. Shout out to Seasick.
Warrior
Can't wait for you to
Wednesday.
get it.
I like that. Warrior Wednesdays.
Yeah, Warrior Wednesdays is strong. Yeah, exactly. Yep. The Craftsman. So as we going down, man, it was a lot. So I'm not even going to take up too much more time. We had a good time, and it's so. I'm so glad we had this time together. Got to bite count with that, shaking the head. But thank y'all for coming on out, man. And I want to land the plane right about now.
Peace.
Oh man, it's not happening.
Plane coming. It playing. I hate doing this. Man, start
It had to load up.
Yo, I had to load. Yo, could we?
That one had to load up
If you know
real
what,
quick.
every time we do the intelligence, can we hit Oswald Bates one time
Oswald Bates. What are you talking about?
on YouTube, real quick? Oswald Bates. I'm gonna go out with this. So give him a little laugh. Huh?
Oh, word.
Yeah. Every time we drop deep knowledge, we always gotta go to Oswald Bates and hit the first one. And that's how I'm gonna go out on this.
Only on the live they can hear it. Once I trim this out.
Oh, okay. Are we gonna get in trouble for it?
No, we'll get in trouble, but like I'll trim it out for the replay.
All right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
All right, y'all. Yo, thank y'all for coming through, man, tonight. My name is Killah Priest.
Peace to all the gods and the earths out there.
Yup. I want to say shalom, and I want to say bye. I want to say peace. I want to say salam alaikum. I want to say what's another? Aloha. Man, that's it, yo. I'm out of here, yo. Yo, AD, you got anything you want to say?
Yo, that's it. We'll be back on Monday.
And make sure if y'all want y'all stuff mixed or mastered, y'all go to Sound Daddy. He'll be mixing and stuff. And if y'all want some of that good what's that
What's that?
Some of
The
that
clothing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Make sure y'all go and grab some of that Stay Fresh clothing. Make sure y'all get some of that Afro Kid wear. You know what I mean?
And we're protected. Somebody said to the Rocketeers and the Craftsman, this right here, we out of here. Peace and love and understanding. Yeah. Oh, that's something you go handle.
Of the matter by transmitting the effervescence of the Indonesian proximity in order to further segregate the crux of my venereal infection. Now, if I may retain my liquids here for one moment, I'd like to continue the redundance of my quote-unquote intestinal tract. See, because to preclude on the issue of world domination would only circumvent, circumcise the revelation that reflects the aphrodisiac symptoms which now perpetrates the Jericho's activation. So, do not misinterpret the chauvinistic...
Give to the United Negro Scholarship Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to develop without help.
Allow me to expose my colon once again. The ramification inflicted on the incision placed within the fallopian cavities serves to be holistic, taken from the Latin word jalapeno. The ambiguity that I feel never justifies itself. There's always the pungent odor of life's constipation that surreptitiously conflicts with the detrimental instability hitherto
Some sort of scroll or maybe
60
prophets
who
of
we
old.
appreciate.
Pick a topic, I make it conscious expose your soul in such by touch and smell while alive as biological bodies. See with the eyes or dwell for eternal in the hell inferno, a world nocturnal. You twirl in crop circles. Is it a spacecraft taking you on command? Priest, the son of man, or the Wu-Tang clan? Soon to feel illness, a fever from my brilliance. Inductions by the use of similar symptoms, by the use of psychoactive chemicals, not original, unnatural, invisible insight into the nature of the mic. I hold it's like a black hole, gaping night. UFO raps trapping the escaping light. Right, then recite the sacred right. Might give it, then take it light. Priest, I'm number one. Besides me, there is none. Above me is the sun. 6 trillion.